Someone asked in the comments, it was a really good question actually. They were saying, I don't know how to go deeper with someone. You know, apart from the, that's so true what he just said. Apart from the usual, oh, that sucks, man. Can't go any deeper than that. Now, I'm going to give you a general principle that you should live by, and this is the entire premise of human relationships and managing them. 101, troubleshoots. You always go to this. This is the have you turned it on and off of human beings. How robotic is that? Here it is. Enter their world. That's what you want to be doing. I'm just going to get that out of the way. Oh, Jesus. That one's more attractive, I guess. Kind of just got to bright you in the center there. Yes. Futuristic, isn't it? Oh, look at that. Does your bloody Switch have silver on it? Somebody's probably writing in the comments. Yes. But I have to impress this upon you. Enter their world. It's one of the key tenements of Tony Robbins. He's always saying that that is the first way to enact or inspire someone into personal change. Yes, you can't get somebody to change, but the first way that you can at least influence it in some way is for them to identify the problem for themselves. Because when you are talking about someone going deeper, I'll tell you something. You are not giving them permission to do it first off because you aren't entering their world. But the second thing is they're not giving themselves permission. Two-pronged there. You're not giving them permission. They're not giving themselves permission. You can't go deeper. And as we've talked about in a previous video, you can get deeper in relationships. But the way that you get from boom to boom, I think, is by sitting there and trying to understand what's going on in their world. So, just to give you a little quick act out. If somebody is just like, what's the matter? And you say, no, say someone's just like, if you just ignore that and you're like, okay, so, want to watch Netflix? That has instantly not given them permission. Now, the basic one of that is the, and then, what's wrong? Nothing. No, seriously, what's wrong? Well, that's usually how most of those conversations start, isn't it? You got to ask him a couple of times, because the first time you just got to make sure in their head what is happening there in that transfer is that they are not giving themselves permission because they think you are just saying it to humor them. And you might be, let's be honest. But just in case you're not, you got to ask a couple of times. You've got to give them permission. It's actually the same reason that in Korean society, it is polite for the Koreans to refuse a gift a couple of times. You have to be like, no, please, have this memory. And then eventually they take it. That's what's happening there. You've got to do the same thing. You have to, when somebody is saying, nothing, you've got to ask them that, and you're getting into the same world and you're entering their position. But when they start talking about it, instead of saying, that sucks, you have to use the usual therapist lame questions. There is a reason that that's happening there of like, they just say that, I don't know, Cindy was saying something really off color to me at work. She was being very rude and condescending and people were snickering behind my back. You, instead of just saying like, are you sure they were snickering behind their back? Like that's the same thing. You're kind of just deflecting off them. You're not trying to enter their world because what you're looking for in this situation here is not what is the truth of the situation. You're trying to figure out what their truth is. That's what you're trying to do there. And those are two different things. Because and you are exactly the same, I'm exactly the same. There's no point pretending to be above this. It's just the truth from your perspective. That's all you really ever have access to. Now, we go into the whole postmodernism bullshit argument, but you know what I'm getting at there, right? Yes. If somebody is sitting there and they are saying that that's not their thing, what you are trying to do is to uncover what it is, the thing that is actually eating at them. And that will take a few of those little pries. So then after that, then you try and say the next one after that, like say that they just say like, so if you say, I don't think that happened, they'll just be like, no, it is because, and they get defensive. So they have immediately stopped you from going deeper, as you said. But if your usual thing is just like, and how did that make you feel? But, obviously you're not going to say something as trite as that and cliche because you're actually listening to what they're saying and you actually are trying to get to how they see things. And what will happen at the end of that whole little diatribe after that, something actually unique, some important discovery that they will have, that you will have, and you will both be able to relate to that because it actually will be a universal wound. Do you remember that self-help phrase that the more personal a wound feels, the more universal it is? It's actually kind of the same thing in comedy. Like Jerry Seinfeld, one of the greatest, I can't believe I'm admitting it these days, but anyway, one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. What is most of it? Most of it is just them sitting there just being like, you know how just, the coffee just goes to the end of the spoon? Yeah? Well, kind of looks ugly. Yeah, I guess. Like, it's that kind of stuff. It's just things that people would normally say, and then you sit there and you're like, yeah, I talk about my friends like that and that, because it's relating to you. It is a universal thing. That is how you can tell how much of an impact you are having to the rest of society, because you are doing something that people look at and they go, yeah, that reminds me of something that I've done before. You can relate to it. That's how you get deeper, because there will become a point in there where you will just be like, yeah, I felt that before, or like, yeah, that's happened to me, or you will have some insight. Like, instead of that thing of just being like, just fix it this way, fix it this way, fix it this way, which is what you can do, and that's what I've done with this entire channel. But you can, when it gets to that deeper level and you can sit there, you will intuitively have something quite insightful to say, because you would have had something like that as well, and you would have had something that got you out of that rut. You can both then collaborate on the solution. But you're going to have to get to the point where you can see that they are just freely trying to process the, for lack of a better word, trauma. Because usually it's just like, they're making fun of me at work. It's that kind of stuff. But that you're sitting there and you're allowing that to process. That is how you build up a relationship. That is how you go deeper with someone. That is how you get higher up the pyramid, I should go, instead of lower. Higher up the pyramid in terms of developing relationships. Anyway, if you found that interesting, if you found that useful, got more of it, Jordan Shanks. That's right. You can sign up for an extra video or 2 extra videos. I think the first one is $2, the other one is $5 a week, and those are 2 extra videos filled with wisdom, cutting out all the crap. Like, really, how much do you spend on Audible? $15 a book? And most of it's shit. You don't need it. You need about 5 minutes of it. I've got the 5 minutes right in here. I swear, there is just a huge self-help library in here, and if you want access to it, you know where to go. Thank you so much for watching.